Hello and welcome to this episode of Talk and Beyond with Priyanka Khai. And if you're watching me for the first time, please subscribe to my channel. Do like and comment on the video if you think our content is valuable. Do share this with the ones who you think can benefit from this. Without any further ado, let's welcome our guest for today. कहते हैं एक औरत मकान को घर बनाती है, पर आज की हमारी गेस्ट सबको एक बेहतर घर बनाना सिखाती है. She's an exceptionally motivated lady who seeks opportunities in the smallest things of life and makes it larger than life. A professional who is easing the pain points of thousands of followers with her expertise in home decor and being a revolutionary influencer. Welcoming Preeti Prabhu to the show. Hi Preeti, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Priyanka. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Preeti, first of all, let us dive into the actual fact where it all adds up. And an IT professional who was thoroughly passionate about writing became a home decor influencer. I would really want to know, how does this all add up?
So, actually, the passion was lying in the home decor and not in writing. The writing was just an accident.
Okay.
So, when I was doing a job, I was quite happy doing it. I was doing very well, in fact. And where it started was when my job started getting too hectic and I had to travel, and I didn't have the time for my decor. So when I was traveling, I lost weekends in probably in transit or trying to make reports for a client or meeting some client, and I didn't have the regular weekends for myself where I could, move things around in my house and do the stuff that really and that I really enjoyed doing. So at that time is when I started the blog, because I had to find a place for um, expressing creatively, because that was not available in a physical space. So the writing happened accidentally, because when I started the blog, it wasn't for anybody to read. It was just to archive my thoughts and the places that I've visited, the inspiration that I've seen, and all of that. So the blog started off as more of a conversation where I'm talking to somebody and recording what my experience is. So the writing just happened, and over a period of time, it just gathered more um, readers, I would say. And it was at a time where there was no social media. Probably Facebook had just started off, so there was no influencer thing. It was purely a need that I had to fulfill at that time. And because I didn't have the time for the decor, it just got online and became more of a passion driven thing than an influencer kind of a thing.
Wow. I think this is like, like a very idealistic approach that you've actually seen. You have a cushiony job, and, on the weekends you wanted to really write. So you started off the blog, which eventually gained a lot of respect and readers. But how does this actually, work in the real life? There are a lot of us who've converted our passion into profession. I would also like to address this thin line of difference where we would need to keep in mind when a hobby can become a profession.
Anybody doing it right now, I would say make sure you start when you're working. For me, my blog turned into a store, and then it turned into a full-fledged interior decoration career. And now is when, in the last 3-4 years, is when we've seen the influencer trend, and you see you're able to monetize your audience. So it was like a gradual process for me. I know people now spend take a year off their studies and say I want to become an influencer, but I don't see that is a great approach to take. It is something that has to be very organic and very thought out. If you start out saying I want to be an influencer and this is what I'm going to do, then it's most definitely going to bomb. So it's more like you're passionate about something, and then you start an online space to talk about it, and people who read it need to see value in what you have to say, and then over a period of time you build people's trust, and then you get to a point where people are listening to you, and you have a certain role in their life. And if you're doing it as a hobby, great. If you want to stick with keeping it as a hobby, great. In that case, you are more doing it when you feel like, or whenever you want to post, you post. But then if you want to take it to the next level and start looking at it as a stream of income, and look at it as a business, then you have to get more focused. You'll have to have a plan in place, and chase it just like any other business that you would do.
Okay, what about the ones who haven't started working yet? They are studying and they are probably, for millennials, I'm sure you would know that they have that vibe in them to become an influencer because they've seen so many right now, and it's a trend right now, right? And probably one of the reasons they would want to opt for such a profession is because it's easy money, it's instant famous credibility, and instant, the gratification. So I think that's the approach that the millennials are following currently, which would affect a lot of things coming forward. But what do you say towards the students who are planning to get into a influencer journey? How should they choose their career, and should they actually opt right out of studies, or should they wait it out?
So I want to start off by busting all the myths that you mentioned right now. It's not easy money. It's not instant gratification. It's not a place for fame. So all these things are not why you should be getting into an influencer or a content creator kind of a thing. You will not see money for at least a year. Any significant money, I'm saying. I'm not talking about the small 1,500 and 2,000 that some brands will pay you to promote. You will not see significant money in at least a year and a half of fully focused time, which means you are thinking about your content business every single day, posting every single day, generating valuable content every single day. Still, you will not see money, some significant money, for at least a year. So it's not a quick money making thing. If you are getting into it because you can make money, then you'll be frustrated and you'll quit within the first few months. Two, you said for fame. You can do a lot of things to get fame, right? You just have to probably be talk the next controversial stuff online, or share something that is negative, and you can get a lot of fame through it. With being a content creator comes a lot of responsibility, because you have to be sure what you're sharing is authentic, comes from a place of good research, authenticity, and a place where you've kept in mind that the reader is putting some trust in you and will try those things without thinking that there might be some negative consequences. So it is not about fame. You have to be doubly careful while posting anything, because you have a responsibility, and people can repeat what you're doing just by seeing, because they think you've thought it out. So why would they put more thought into it? So yeah, it's not why you should get into fame. Instant gratification, absolutely not. I've seen a lot of influencers get into depression and start feeling miserable because they are not being authentic. They are trying to be a put on in their social profiles or blogs. The only way to do that is be real. You cannot please everybody, but what you can do, you can be true to yourself and make sure a major part of your audience you are taking care of in terms of providing good quality content to them. So there will be days you will get haters, but then if you're true to yourself, you don't have to worry about those things. So if you're a millennial and you don't know what you have to do, or you don't know where you're going, then I would say start your social media journey or content creator journey, and explore on the way. Like today you could say take a few painting classes, see how it works, see if you want to be an artist. No, didn't really give you the kind of kick you expected. Move on to the next one, and in that journey take your audience along. So your audience is actually growing with you, seeing that you are trying different things and doing different things, and they see your journey, and that builds a lot of trust and authenticity, and then you know you have a loyal following.
Yeah, so rightly said. I think a lot of millennials and a lot of people who are just starting off their journey needed to hear this from an influencer themselves so that they know that it's not all glamorous, it's not all rosy. You need to probably weigh out all your options and then get into a profession with a clear mind, with a clear thought, right?
Yes, yes. And it's not just millennials, even the older people my age have the problem where they're trying to be someone else online, and it doesn't work out. After a period, you start getting frustrated because who you are online is not who you are offline, and that over a period of time can be extremely stressful. So being authentic
I think
and being your true to yourself and true to your audience is what is the first step to becoming any kind of content creator or influencer.
yeah, yeah. But I think sometimes some social media does that to you, that you are actually someone else online and somebody else offline. So I don't blame them completely, but there is a very big chance that that happens to a lot of people. Okay, going a little broad in our approach, we have seen vertical specialization in every field,
Yeah.
which presents us with a plethora of options.
Yeah.
We have seen, we only had architects and their allies for the longest of the times. Now we have interior designing as a course, and they have added a new stream of opportunities. How has the transition been, and what are the trends do you see going forward?
Interior design wasn't a very big thing until very recently, I would say, at least in India. We never had this concept of living in a decorated space. Uh, if we look at some of the choices that people have made is mostly for show. The idea was to you show off your home, and that's why you decorate. I think slowly now people are realizing that it's no longer about show, and especially with the lockdown, we've realized that it's more about living in a good space and feeling good. Unfortunately, there is very, very little research done with adults as to how an adult responds in a clutter-free, decorated space. They've done researches on kids, and they see huge difference in the kids' behavior, in their productivity, and all of that. But it's the same for adults as well. You live in a stress-free, beautiful environment. You are bound to feel better, do better, and produce better results. So slowly, I think as Indians, we are realizing that it's more about living well, and smaller niches are coming up where people are getting into styling. Specific people have everything in their houses, but it's not coming together. So there is a niche which caters to styling. Now we also have professional organizers who, if you are having trouble organizing your home, will come and help you out with that. So people are seeing value in those things, and I would say it is an investment worthwhile because it does wonders to your living once you've gotten that done. So yes, trying to go as micro as possible and getting a niche that caters to a very specific kind of audience works much better than saying I do everything and I cater to everything. See, something that looks very glamorous, right? There is still going to be a good side of it, and then there is still going to be a substandard kind of side of it. So if you're trying to become an influencer, you have to weigh as to where you want to be. You want to come across as a drama queen and just get as many followers as you want, because for me that is extremely easy. You just have to act cranky, and people will follow you because they want to see what drama comes next. But then it's not sustainable, or it's not monetizable. I have 100,000 people today, so I'm going to start a store, I'll open it. It depends on how I nurtured the 100,000 people and what journey did they come along with me, and then when I present them something, they are ready to buy. But if you haven't done all the background work, even if you have 100,000, 200,000, it's not going to matter.
Correct, correct. Rightly said. I think you will have to first earn the trust, then probably move ahead, right?
Yes, yes.
Wow. Okay, COVID has given us a major skill learning potential. And what better than a vocational course to help us in something worthy of making a career or at least a secondary source of income? How do you think this could be curated in something like a course that would, have all the aspects where people would be calling themselves a stylist?
Yeah. So you can't become a stylist overnight. So if you're looking at least the COVID has given us time to think and prioritize what we want. So I would say for people who don't have any kind of expertise, it's time to upskill and gain some expertise, so that I think we are going to be in this for another 6 to 8 months. It's not going to go away so quickly. So you have time to invest in yourself and invest in something that will be something for you in 6 months time. So if you don't have a niche that you already have in or are interested in, or have some amount of knowledge, uh, then I would say work on gaining that knowledge. If you already have certain amount of knowledge, like for me, I have been decorating for professionally for 10 years, and then uh, I discovered that I wanted to decorate way back when I was a teen. So ideally I've been decorating for 20 plus years. So I knew that, and COVID was a lot more easier for me because I live in a decorated space. I don't get out of the house every opportunity that I get. So I've surrounded myself with beautiful things which have some sentimental value and beauty and all of that. So being confined to a space wasn't so difficult for me. And then I realized it's not the case with a lot of people. People are just, there are a lot of people who are, for them home is just a place to come and rest and get ready and move on to the next thing that they want to do. But you right now you're forced to stay indoors, and the idea of my online course for styling came from the fact that yes, people have stuff, they don't know how to display things, they don't know what they can do with what they have to better their lives. So that's how I launched the styling course, and that's how it came to me. So if you look at how you can better somebody else's life with what you have to offer, I think that's a much better approach to take than what can I do to make extra money.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. And I think that instills value in a lot of people who are actually watching you, because somewhere or the other, this is what a human seek, right? I mean, an influencer would really want to instill value in their followers so that tomorrow, when they are actually coming out with a new product, at least a few of them are ready to try. At least a few of them are ready to experiment with what they have to offer and listen to them patiently. This is what an influencer does, and I think you're doing it wonderfully. The vocational course that you've started is probably, I'm guessing, for people who have a little bit of background about house styling, or can they start right away?
They can start right away. It's for anybody who wants to style their home better. So it's a very, very basic course. Even if you probably give it to a 13 or a 15-year-old, they'll be able to pick up and start bettering their space on their own. So I have designed it in such a way that I've even started with the basics, where I'm talking to you about decluttering and even cleaning and all of that. So it's not the feedback that I've received, that it's not overwhelming. Like people have told me that we see so much on social media and suddenly it gets too overwhelming, that I'm not doing the thing, or I am not doing what is in, sort of a thing. But after taking the course, I'm so relaxed and I know what I'm doing is right because it works for me.
Wow, wow. I think this is the vocational course that we're talking about, right? Because it's bettering your life and it is giving a lot of skill development again. You
Yes.
can, if you've learned yourself, you can probably teach it to 100 others who are requiring this skill. Lovely, super. I think this is fabulous, Preeti. Thank you so much. But we have one more small segment for you,
Yeah.
and this is called rapid fire round,
Okay.
where I'm going to be you with some questions. You do not have to go in detail,
Okay.
but you have to give me a non-diplomatic answer where you're
Okay.
supposed to be picking a few things.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Great. Okay. Your first question. Who has been the most supporting member of your family in terms of your art, and who has been a critic?
Both is my husband.
Wow. Okay. Which is his favorite piece of art?
He's the biggest fan of everything that I do, and he advises the designer on designing. So everything I
Oh.
do, he loves. So
Nice. Okay. Which is your favorite corner of the house?
this one where I'm sitting, because it gets the best light.
Okay. Which piece of art do you play with the most?
I don't have a specific piece. I have tons of art in the house, and very few of them stay in one place. So I'm constantly juggling them and moving them around. And
Okay, if someone's asking you for an advice where I could put something here, you know, what is that one thing that you always think that will go with everything?
something that came from your family or ancestors, from your
Okay.
parents or grandparents' home. It always fits in.
Something with a sentimental value.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Influencers who have inspired you or whose work you've loved the most?
I don't have a design influencer, but Gary Vaynerchuk is somebody that I follow very much, because he is the one who propagates being authentic, being true to yourself, being honest about what you're doing, and that really works.
He's the only one?
Pretty much.
Okay. What are the colors that have a positive impact on the moods of people?
Depends on the amount of light that you get. If you don't get a lot of light, I would say stick with warm whites. And if you get a lot of natural light, then you can do bright yellows and blues and anything that speaks to you. So color is very personal. It depends on person to person. So what speaks to you, you should be doing, and don't go with trends.
Okay. What is your source of idea?
My source of idea, as in from where I derive my inspiration,
Yeah.
from pretty much anywhere. Pinterest to nature to Instagram to YouTube to just standing and staring into space. So I look at everything as inspiration.
Okay. What is the most common mistakes you see in decor styling?
Most common mistakes, there are several of them, but one thing that makes me very, very uncomfortable is people hanging paintings too high. I would prefer them at eye level, but for some reason Indians, we want it as high as possible, and it sort of creeps me out. I see it in pictures and I want to actually physically pull them down.
Wow. Okay. One pro tip for all influencers or getting in the influencer marketing.
Focus on your content and um, post only positive stuff. If you're having a bad day, don't post, and build a conscious community.
Wow. Okay, super. Thank you, Preeti. This was lovely. And I probably think this is going to be very, very beneficial for everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for your time. This was fabulous and I've loved hosting you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you for having me.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Preeti Prabhu who shared her valuable insights on the influencer marketing and decor styling. I hope you enjoyed this piece and you could take away one little thing from this. Please do let us know who's missing from these streams of professionals and we would want to add them on our show. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next episode.